What the actual fuck? Henry Cavill no longer returning as Superman. His cameo, as well as Gal Gadot's cameo as Wonder Woman in the Flash film, no longer using. Reboot is happening. SnyderVerse is dead. And my excitement for DC films is gone. Hashtag fire James Gunn. This has got to be one of the dumbest things that any studio has ever done. Okay. Fans have been asking for Henry Cavill to return as Superman for so long now. You finally give it. You have Henry Cavill announce that he's Superman, and that same week, Ant-Man 3 trailer comes out. No one gives a shit. Just Henry Cavill as Superman. Does a great interview, gets a lot of hype. When James Gunn came on as DC head, or co-head along with Peter Safran, I was worried. James Gunn, he's a Marvel guy. And of his DC stuff he didn't like the Suicide Squad. Peacemaker, I'll be honest, it was a guilty pleasure, but not what I really wanted for quality of DC films. So when he came on his head, I thought this could be nothing but trouble. My bad idea senses were going off the charts, and turns out they were right. They were completely right. Because 2 months after Henry Cavill announced his return, you confirm that he's no longer returning. Why on earth would you do that? Why would you have Henry Cavill announce that he is back as Superman only to say, haha, just kidding, 2 months later? That's not how you treat your fans. That's not a good look for your company. David Zaslav, head of Warner Brothers Discovery, said that the goal was to protect the DC brand. You're not protecting the DC brand. You gave fans something they wanted and then took it away. When you make that commitment to the public, you stick with that commitment. If James Gunn is coming in, what you say to him, you say two things. Either, okay, we announced Henry Cavill's back, we have to pay this off, or you don't use James Gunn. But why would you just so many things wrong right now. Okay, so Peter Safran was the one they really wanted, right? And he wanted James Gunn as his co-head because what? Peter Safran was part of Aquaman, a film that made $1 billion. Okay, sure, but was Peter Safran like the sole proprietor of why that film made $1 billion? Was he the creative person behind it? The creative person that they got, James Gunn, guess what? His film tanked. So if Peter Safran demanded Gunn, what you say to Safran is, no, we'll pick someone else. This is just not good. Okay, so what? At least according to Mikey Sutton, who, again, guess what? Scoop was confirmed. Everything he said that was going to happen until James Gunn stepped in. So, hashtag I embrace the Mikeyverse. Anyway, it's because Black Adam didn't do as well as they wanted. I'm sorry, but I have an issue with that. Because the Henry Cavill post-credit scene they used as the end-all, be-all for the SnyderVerse. Really? You used a 5-second scene to determine the end-all, be-all for the SnyderVerse. This was a film that came under the old regime, who were not making great films. Yeah, you retooled it, you did reshoots, but you still just put lipstick on a pig. Okay? A film should not have to be carried by a post-credit scene. Black Adam is like a D-lister at best. I mean, $400 million when you didn't spend a lot on marketing? I'd say I call that a success. For a startup franchise, yes. This is exactly what the old regime did at Warner Brothers. Batman v Superman. did well, but not as well as they liked. So what do? They panic, they try to course correct, they bring in a Marvel director, and everything goes downhill. That's exactly what they did right now. Didn't do as well as they wanted, brought in a Marvel director, and guess what? Everything went downhill. Everything went downhill after that. A film still... Now, I like the Black Adam film, okay? I thought that was a great film. But here's the thing. A lot of DC fans, they felt burned by DC. You have to give a little time to build up trust. A film that was made under the old regime at Warner Brothers should not be your end-all, be-all for determining the future of the SnyderVerse just because it had Henry Cavill in it for 5 seconds. That's ludicrous. That is really ludicrous and not protective of the brand at all. If you really wanted a real test, why not the Flash film? Why not Aquaman? Why not let those films be your test? Ones that actually use the SnyderVerse cast. Just saying. Just saying. And what? You're not using Henry Cavill because he costs more? Let me think of an analogy for you. Let's say you're getting your car repaired at a service shop. Let's say that there's this repair you need and you decide to skimp out on it because it's too expensive. So then you're driving your car and your car breaks down because you ignored that repair that they said to get. So now your car is now a lot more damaged. So now you have to get that repair. But now guess what? You have to pay for a tow truck to get you to the nearest service shop, whether it's the dealer, local shop, whatever. And now your car is even more damaged. It's going to cost more to fix it because now there's more damage to your car. And now you're thinking, man, I wish I just paid that little bit of money when I had the chance. That's exactly what happened here. Henry Cavill, was he more expensive? Was he more expensive than a new person? Yes, 100%. But people like Henry Cavill from The Witcher, which he's no longer a part of probably because he thought I was going to be playing Superman. And I know there were creative issues too, but I definitely think that he wouldn't have moved on right away without Superman. But anyways, Henry Cavill at least would have done well. The film would have... I really think he's more popular now. SnyderVerse fans, non-SnyderVerse fans, love Henry Cavill. That film would have broken $1 billion. And now it was leaked out that Brainiac would have been the villain. This would have been a great film that would have made a lot of money. But like the old regime, because a film, they got their tail caught between their legs and they panicked. They listened to James Gunn. They're concerned about, Black Adam's film didn't do so well, so why should we listen to The Rock? But we're going to let the person who, directed that flop, The Suicide Squad, we'll let him make the creative decisions. Sorry. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. And now you're totally rebooting everything. You're doing a young Superman. You're doing Smallville 2.0. Really? But here's the thing now. A lot of fans are irritated. You had Henry Cavill announce that he was back, and then you took it away. You embarrassed Henry Cavill. You bait and switched the fans. You have a lot of negative stigma against this film before it's even out. You think that's going to do well? You don't think that's a risk at all? Why? Because you just didn't pay the repair when you had the chance to at the dealer or the service shop, wherever you get your car serviced. That's what Zaslav did. And now it's obvious that a reboot's happening, okay? It's clear as day. But yeah, 4 films coming out. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Blue Beetle, The Flash. which had a lot of great stuff cut from it, and Aquaman 2. Why is anyone going to support those films now? They lead nowhere. Okay, maybe Blue Beetle will be part of James Gunn's new shitty DCU. But the others? No. They're just going to be one-offs at this point. Like, really? Like, David Zaslav, you were supposed to be different than what the old regime did. But you literally made every single mistake the old regime did. You didn't realize that Marvel had to build. So does DC. In fact, here's the thing. DC lost trust with fans. So it's going to take you more time to rebuild. You're impatient, though, so you'd make a stupid decision, and now it's going to cost you even more. That's the reality. That is the reality. David Zaslav did... If James Gunn wanted to reboot, here's the thing. I would have been fine with that. Truth is, I really would have. But not at this moment. James Gunn, guess what? He's writing and directing a Superman film. Could he use more time? Could he use more time to write and direct it? Could he use more money? All you needed to do was finish off the story of the SnyderVerse. Give that Man of Steel 2 film so that, since you already announced Henry Cavill is back, give Ben Affleck his Batman film, give another Gal Gadot Wonder Woman film, and finish Zack's arc with Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3, film them back to back, and then obviously release the air cut. It's already filmed, so release the air cut. Maybe get a Cyborg movie. 3 years before James Gunn is even done. And you could have done that. You could have finished off the Snyderverse, given it a proper conclusion, and fans would have been happy. I mean, obviously, there's never a situation all fans are happy, but most fans would have been happy with that. The conclusion to Zack Snyder's story. But now, my favorite movies, I can never really completely enjoy the same way again, because now they end on a cliffhanger. Now, the story that I love ends on a cliffhanger right after being teased that we were getting it. And yes, James Gunn made a stupid decision. He's on Twitter trolling fans. I mean, look, I respect that the guy has to promote Marvel because of previous obligations. I'm not going to fault him for that. But maybe he should be a lot more considerate in the fact that he has to do that and try to be more careful about what he does with DC. But again, as I say, James Gunn was not the pick, not the creative pick. If you have a plan that you think will work, go with someone who's going to gel with that plan. Like Dwayne Johnson, anyone from $7. What, you're mad that the film didn't do as well as you wanted? You're mad that the franchise starter didn't do as well as you wanted because Henry Cavill had 5 seconds of a scene? No, that's bullshit. You have to build towards that, and they were building towards that. You don't think that the sequel, Black Adam v Superman, a film where Henry Cavill's actually in it for a big chunk of time, you don't think that would have done a lot better? You don't think that could have made $1 billion? You had a great direction. This new regime had a great direction they were doing, but the instant a film doesn't make as much money as they want, they throw it away. They throw it all away. And so, yes, you see, fire James Gunn. Yeah, because James Gunn is clearly not good for the brand. He's clearly bad for the DC brand because so far he made a decision that alienated fans. So, yes, fire James Gunn is trending. And I'm going to continue to trend that because he does not belong in DC. He does not. His DC film did not do well. I don't trust him to write this Superman film, especially after he was involved in the bait and switch. Okay? Yes, he didn't have Henry Cavill announce he was back, but he knew it already happened. He knew fans were already expecting it. He knew the company made a commitment to it. But he decided, he could have just finished off that story first. And you would have had fan support. I would have supported you. I really would have. I would have said, you know what? Let's give this new DCU a chance. He finished off the Snyderverse. He gave it a proper conclusion. And then guess what? All this stuff he wants to do with connecting the games, which I actually think sounds pretty cool. I would have been a lot more excited for it. Because you at least respected the fans, finished the story that they wanted, and you moved on. But we, the fans, are the customers. We are the consumers. You do not disrespect us. And you did. But you know what? I have a saying in life. One party's guilt does not equal another party's innocence. Yes, it was stupid that David Zaslav used a 5-second scene as the end-all be-all for the SnyderVerse. But that was the reality. Regardless of what it should have been, why it was, whatever, that was the reality. That, guess what? Salah Abdul and Mikey Sutton have constantly said. And at that point, at that particular point, the new regime had not done anything yet. Okay? That regime was not responsible for all that stuff that went down at that. Okay, so again, going forward, this was before this. So at the time, the Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav is innocent at that point. They shelved the bad Batgirl film. They brought back Henry Cavill as Superman. At that moment, they have not done anything yet. But the fans, they said, boycott, 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 despite Salah Abdul and Mikey Sutton saying not to. You boycotted a film because what? Zach wasn't back yet? He's filming Rebel Moon at the time. Of course he's not going to be back. Zach was never going to direct all the DC films. He was only going to direct, his arc, his pentalogy, or whatever it evolves into. Maybe another Superman film. But he wasn't going to do everything. This Black Adam film, he was never supposed to have involvement in it. So I'm not going to boycott it for that. And Zach was supporting Black Adam. And a lot of these Snyder only fans, we'll call them, because they only like Zack Snyder. They said, well, just because Zach doesn't like it doesn't mean I have to. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it means also that you shouldn't be boycotting it on his behalf. That's the issue here. You're boycotting the film on his behalf. They were counting on fans showing up for that post-credit scene. Regardless of how stupid that was, that was the reality. And you didn't show up. Why? Because you didn't like the suit color, you didn't like the hair curl, you didn't like the music. Guess what? Neither did I. That's not a secret. I in that video where I talk about the post-credit, or I guess really it's a mid-credit scene, I didn't like any of that, really. I thought the suit was too bright. I didn't like the John Williams music, and I didn't really like the hair curl, at least not all of it together. But the hair curl grew on me a little bit. But anyways, overall, I was just happy to see Henry Cavill back as Superman, because he has not been Superman since Justice League. He was scrapped. He was one of the SnyderVerse actors that were scrapped after Justice League. And he was back. You think that's nothing? Oh, I know. Yes, I know. I know that all the SnyderVerse actors were in Justice League. I get that. I do. But they weren't used after that. I mean, well, some of them were, but it's like, I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words right now. It's like, okay, all right. Back to my train of thought. They like Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher. They had to do Justice League because it was part of that same production company, or that same project officially as Zack Snyder's Justice League. So they had to return for that, but they were gone after that. So them returning, one of them returning means something. Oh no, both of them returning, because Ben Affleck, guess what, was in Aquaman 2. Henry Cavill was in The Flash. I know Ben Affleck was in it too, but I'm pretty sure that was part of his old contract, so he had to do that one. But they were giving us what we wanted. They were giving the fans what they wanted. So it's clear as day, at that point in time, the new regime had nothing but good intentions. But you didn't show up. Because nitpicking stuff like a suit color, it's a blue Superman suit. Superman wears a blue suit. We don't know when it takes place in the timeline. For all we knew, it took place after Zach's arc. For all we knew, in Zach's new story, maybe he doesn't wear the black suit. Maybe, the second Superman movie, for all we knew, maybe he was talking to Cyborg about what he saw in the future, and that motivated him to change his suit color faster. Because, in the Nightmare timeline, in Cyborg's vision, he saw Superman in the black suit. But maybe, again, after talking to Cyborg, maybe he changed his mind because of that vision. Maybe he put it on, the black suit on again, because he needed to be more powerful to stop Darkseid. Like, give him a chance to explain the continuity before you complain about it. You don't sew on their clothes. We don't know what Zack's new story was. So, and again, did I agree with the John Williams theme? No, I did not. But that is a theme that people associate with Superman. With Christopher Reeve's Superman. John Williams' theme is not owned by Joss Whedon. Okay? Just using that music does not make it Justice League. And the hair curl wasn't in either. So, what are you going on about? What are you actually going on about? It's Justice Superman. How is it Justice Superman? How? Because the other two reasons, other than thinking that Joss Whedon owns blue suits and John Williams' theme, how was it that? Black Adam, we need to talk. He didn't say a corny line that I'm for truth that, well, I'm a fan of truth, but I'm also a big fan of justice, or that line. He didn't say a stupid line like that. You think boycotting that film really helped? Or maybe another one, because Hamada's name was still on the film. Someone, who was responsible for a lot of this bad stuff, interfering with the Ray Fisher investigation. His name was attached to the film as a producer. Okay, but he got fired. They did their time. WBD cut ties with them, but they legally had to put their name in the movie. But your name in the movie shouldn't always mean anything. Joss Whedon's another one we don't like, right? He was one of the main people, harassing Ray Fisher, with all, making Ray Fisher's life miserable with Gal Gadot, disrespecting them. Guess what? Joss Whedon is a writer on Toy Story. You want to boycott Toy Story? Do you boycott Smallville because Allison Mack is in it? If you boycott something because of someone you don't like is involved in it, there's a lot of stuff you're not going to be able to watch. But The Rock did something for us. He got Henry Cavill back as Superman. And yes, Zack Snyder wasn't announced back at the time because of Rebel Moon. But me, personally, I'd rather see the SnyderVerse cast get their movies while we wait for Zack Snyder to come back. Zack Snyder showed his support. You're not boycotting on his behalf. You think that if boycotting the film would help the SnyderVerse, you think that Zack would have supported that film? No, you boycotted for your egos. You boycotted to feel good about yourselves. That's the reality. That is the hardcore reality. You boycotted for your own egos. I love DC. In my really dark times, DC helped me get through a lot. And right now, that's not there for me. And that's hard. I love DC. But right now, DC doesn't make me happy. So I'll be honest. I don't know what I'm going to do with DC going forward. Because at this moment, I can't support Warner Brothers. I can't support what they're doing. The total disrespect for fans, for talent. Zaslav wants money? Okay, well, I'm going to vote with my wallet. I canceled my HBO Max subscription. I won't be watching it. At least I won't be watching Blue Beetle for sure. I'm still thinking about Flash and Aquaman 2. And I'm going to boycott. Or not boycott. Hashtag fire James Gunn. Bring back Henry Cavill. I don't know if that would work because Henry Cavill's onto an Amazon series, which great for you, Henry Cavill. I'm so glad you got something like that. I'm really happy for you that you did that. I'm really happy that you got that, and that you have creative input. You deserve it, Henry. You deserve it. And would he want to come back after, being like that, publicly humiliated like that from the same regime? Truth is, I don't know. actors can do multiple projects, so I don't necessarily think the Amazon series alone would prevent that. But with this other, with what they did to him, I don't know if he would want to come back. But that's up for him to decide, not up for me to decide. So me as a fan, I would still want to see Henry Cavill back. So I'm going to hashtag Henry Cavill Superman. I'm going to hashtag fire James Gunn, because no matter what, if we lose the SnyderVerse, I would still want James Gunn to fail. Just because we as SnyderVerse fans lost doesn't mean that the other side has to win. So I'm going to hashtag fire James Gunn. I wanted to see Warner Bros. Discovery lose their money, lose their stock. And then David Zaslav will be like, wow, it's almost like relying on a 5-second scene should not have been the end-all, be-all for my decisions going forward. It's almost like hiring someone who made a flop DC film, who's mostly a Marvel guy, was not a good choice. All I wanted was to see a proper conclusion to the SnyderVerse, to the story I love, to be able to watch the story knowing it doesn't end there, knowing that there is a satisfying conclusion, to see my favorite Batman get a solo movie. And we don't got that. We don't have that now. Because David Zaslav, like the old regime, panicked when something didn't go exactly like how they wanted initially. They panicked. They course-corrected like crazy. Yes, the Trinity is expensive. Like Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, or Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot are expensive. Yes. But guess what? Those films would make money. They would make money. They would make a lot more money than what this is. Maybe you didn't need to fill the DC head positions so quickly. Maybe you could have, again, tested out the waters a little bit more with the Henry Cavill solo film, with the Ben Affleck Batman v Deathstroke film, with the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman 3, not directed by Patty Jenkins because Wonder Woman 1984 was. And side note, if Patty had admitted her fault in that film, I would have been open for her directing Wonder Woman 3, but the fact that she doubled down on it, not so much. But point is, I don't know what's going to happen to this channel, honestly. I'm just going to be honest. This channel is a primarily DC channel. Yes, I say we'll cover it all, but primarily DC's the hub. I'm Bat Dan's thoughts. Not Spider Dan's thoughts. Not Darth Dan's thoughts. Just Bat Dan. And right now, if I'm not going to cover DC, I don't know. Am I going to take this channel down? Am I going to rebrand? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. And yes, this video was definitely a lot different than what you normally have. I normally don't do rant videos. I normally like to keep it positive. But right now, the thing I love, I can't enjoy like I used to. I can't. And I wanted to come on here and give my thoughts on this situation. Give my thoughts on this bullshit. Especially since I did a 2-parter video on Henry Cavill's return as Superman. I did a video on Ben Affleck being in Aquaman 2, which I'm wondering if those scenes are going to be used. I don't think so at this point. And I'm going to put this video up here to show that the DC brand is not protected. It's Christmas time. I got my Santa hat on. I got my Christmas lights in the background. I'm supposed to be doing Christmas-themed videos at this point. And, I'll try to go for the rest of the year, try to go back to more Christmassy videos. But this was important. My primary interest, the primary reason I did this channel, I had to talk about this. Of course I did. And I'm upset. I'm not a happy camper. And I, as a fan, will be voting with my wallet. I won't be seeing these films. Unfortunately, I have HBO Max till August because I got the year subscription. But, that just is what it is. Can't do much about that. But I canceled that day out of principle. I'll buy Black Adam. I'll support that film because at least that one, maybe give The Rock more power. Maybe when they see how well that film does on digital. Hopefully it does. When they see that their stocks are going down, when they see that fans are upset, maybe they will make a decision. Maybe Zaslav will realize, wow, this was a really bad move. I don't know. But here's the thing. If I do nothing and just accept it, then for sure then for sure nothing's going to change. But do I think it's likely? Truth is, I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that this is just a very hard thing that happened. And, I check the timer every so often just to check for length. And this is by far my longest video. But this was something I needed to talk about. This was something I needed to get off my chest. I love DC. But right now, I don't know. I really don't know anymore. Do you guys agree with me? Do you agree with my points? Comment below in the chat. Let me know. And again, I'll think about what I do with this channel going forward. I might rebrand. We got Dreamwalker, written by Mikey Sutton, in the SnyderVerse. That's going to be good. I'll definitely be talking about that. Look, I'm happy for all the great friends I've made through DC, through campaigning for Restore the SnyderVerse. Sil Abdul, Mikey Sutton, Trey and Super Bro Corey of the Bat Channel, Skywalker the Jedi, and the other members of the Cool Table, El Necron, Leon, the Good Austin, Zod Rider, Savage Bat. I'm thankful for all the great friends that I've made. And again, just because so many more to mention, too many to mention. And I have that at least with DC. So I'm thankful for Restore the SnyderVerse with that. But going forward, we'll see. Lots of other great stuff to talk about. Star Wars. Maybe not Marvel because, seeing how well Marvel's doing and not DC would be too painful. But lots of other stuff. And I might branch out. Might talk in some other stuff I haven't really covered, like Kingdom Hearts. I'm a huge fan of that game series. But yeah, it'll be weird to see how we are going forward. I'll try to keep the rest of my videos till January Christmas themed because I like, especially when I have the Christmas lights on and the Santa hat on, I like to kind of keep them Christmas themed. So yeah, we'll have that. So yeah, and again, I apologize. This went on really long and kind of ranty, but I needed to say this. I needed to get this off my chest. For now, this is still a DC channel primarily, so have a bat-tastic day.